People aren't spending any money anymore. They just don't have it. Do you have it? Do you have the money to go out right now and take a vacation? Because I don't have it. A lot of people don't have it anymore. Disneyland numbers are down. All the airlines, their numbers are plummeting right now. A lot of the airlines are in serious trouble right now. But the money's just not there. I'm sitting in front of a restaurant right now that usually has a waiting line that you have to go into. 6 months ago, you had to wait to get in there. Now, I can walk right up to the counter, order my food, sit down, a couple minutes. The people just don't have extra expendable money. You go to the grocery store, you're going to spend $200 for 3 people. Who spends less than $100 in a week? Do you spend less than $100 a week? Please like, share, and repost this, but the money's just not there anymore. Return on investment to go to work, just not there anymore. The only people that are spending the big money inside the grocery store are the people with the cards. And I ain't got one. Do you got one?
Walmart and Amazon have all announced major price cuts moving forward, especially in the grocery sectors. And you all know exactly why that's happening. It's because we're not spending any money. But guess what? We don't have any money to spend. And they caused this situation, and now they're facing the consequences of the situation. And they fully expect that we're going to start spending money on bullshit again. And I don't think they understand that they literally trained us out of that behavior by raising prices so high that people found ways around shopping. They found ways around it. They're all hoping that by lowering costs on all these main items like bread, milk, diapers, that they're going to bring their profit margins back up to what they were before. And again, the fact that all of these places, Amazon, Target, Aldi, Walmart, they all have the ability to lower the costs because it never had anything to do with inflation or production costs. It was greed. End of story. So I hope that everyone really digests that and understands that we have always just been drained of our life force. They've always, all of these companies, all of corporate America, all of capitalism. The point is to drain you of your resources, not just your money, but also your life force, and then leave you with nothing in the end. Make sure that your kids have nothing in the end.
Progressive YouTuber Kyle Kulinski agrees with the Marxist economist Richard Wolff. America is cooked.
We got to go through some of the comments section because we already covered the Richard Wolff in a previous video. Somebody said American ignorance and arrogance is finally catching up. Agree or disagree?
I think I agree. Americans have relied so much on free market capitalism, and it has really gotten where America is at right now. But too much capitalism is not always good.
This is what happens when you invest in the military and not infrastructure and the people.
Yes.
I mean, I think just the way they spent the funds, but some people would argue that they needed the military to ensure that the U.S. dollar stayed the world's reserve currency, and that kept America rich too. Somebody said unrestricted or unregulated capitalism is what caused the problems in our economy, and our unwillingness to change will ensure the absolute destruction of the U.S. Somebody said, man, the whole country is about to turn into North Philly. Somebody said this only ends with revolution, and then somebody said, then you just go and be Luigi Mangione. I mean, it's an interesting time right now because I think like America had a lot of these issues like stewing for a long time, but people only notice it once the dish is done.
Yeah.
It's like you could have stopped it when the stew was cooking, but you're just mad now that the stew is cooked.
The American economy is cooked, and not because people aren't working hard enough. In fact, Americans are working harder than ever before. Millions are grinding away at 2, even 3 jobs just to cover the basics. And yet when payday comes, it vanishes instantly, swallowed by rent, bills, food, and gas. There's no room left for savings, let alone enjoying life. People aren't choosing not to spend. They're being forced into silence by prices that outpace their pay. This is why the economy feels broken, because the economy depends on ordinary people spending money, and ordinary people simply don't have it anymore. It's not a matter of laziness. It's a matter of being squeezed so tightly that even the hardest work doesn't set you free. And when families can't afford the basics, the ripple spreads everywhere. Stores struggle, businesses slow down, and the whole system begins to choke. So who is to blame? Not the workers, not the parents, not the kids fresh out of school drowning in debt. The blame lies with greedy corporations and a system that allowed them to bleed people dry without consequence. Prices went up, not because companies were forced to raise them, but because they could. Wages stayed flat because profits came first, while executives padded their pockets and bragged about record earnings. This is what happens when capitalism is left unchecked. It stops rewarding hard work and starts rewarding exploitation. It's like eating junk food every day for decades, ignoring the warnings until suddenly the body collapses. The illness was always there, building up over time, but only now are we seeing the full damage. That's what the American economy looks like today, a sick body, poisoned by greed. And the people suffering most are not lazy. They're overworked, underpaid, and constantly running on empty. If you can work yourself to the bone and still not make it, the problem is not you. The problem is the system that was rigged to drain you from the start.
The U.S. economy is totally crashing, but you don't feel it because of how slow it's happening. It's simple. Debt is eating up the U.S. economy, and not just the national debt. The dollar's weakening at a rate we haven't seen since the '08 recession, and it's actually going to plunge much further than that. Inflation is also still rising, but it's so slow we don't feel it. So as the dollar gets weaker and inflation goes up, we're going to hit a point in around 2 to 3 years to where stuff are going to become unaffordable. And with the combination of the tariffs, we're going to see things triple in price as the dollar gets weaker. Meaning, as always, while your wages and the minimum wage doesn't change, meaning you're not going to get paid enough to live. Also, not to mention, the U.S. debt is going to add about $4 trillion this year. And we've broken a record, guys, for credit card debt in a year. This is it. We broke it already. Showing that people literally are going to have to live off debt forever. As 1% of the U.S. population controls 90% of the wealth.
All right, so look, let me tell you a truth that don't nobody want to say out loud. American citizens are being priced out of existence. And more people have stopped paying bills than they want to admit. Now, I'm not talking about just a few people slipping through the cracks. I'm saying that the cracks have widened so big that whole communities are slipping through them. And this isn't about laziness. This is not a problem of bad budgeting. Well, sometimes it's bad budgeting, but you get what I'm saying. The problem is beyond budgeting. What it's really about is an economy that has been stretched past its breaking point. The cost of survival has been raised higher than human beings can reach. Think about your own life. You go to work, you get paid, rent takes the whole check before you get your next breath out. Just instantly, boom, gone. You walk into the grocery store with money in your pocket, and then you walk out the grocery store with 2 little ass bags that barely last a week. Maybe a couple days if you're lucky. You stand at the gas pump and you watch the numbers spin and rise faster than your paycheck ever will. You go to the mailbox and it's nothing but more demand, more bills, and more weight you can't carry. And this cycle repeats itself day after day, month after month, year after year. And people are tired. Not just physically tired, people are burned out. We are, after all, living in a global burnout crisis. People are drained in the body. People are drained in the mind. People are drained in the soul. For years, they just told us to push harder, to rise and grind, to believe in our potential. But they never once acknowledged our limits. They never once acknowledged that human beings are not machines. They ignored the exhaustion. They ignored the collapse. They ignore the fact that we are working harder than ever in an economy that gives us less and less in return. And we've tried everything. Payday loans, side hustles, payment plans, extensions, rearranging due dates, running up them credit cards, borrowing from family, selling time, selling energy, selling our peace of mind. Every door has been knocked on. Every option has been exhausted. And no matter what you try, it's never enough. Because there isn't enough. Because the system was never built so that you can win. The system was designed for us to fail. And this is what it means to be priced out of existence. To give everything you have and still not be able to cover the basics. To work yourself to the bone and still fall behind. To live in a society where survival is set at a price that ordinary people cannot afford. And when you realize that, something shifts inside of you. You begin to see the truth. The dollar is hollow. It's not protection. It's not freedom. It's not wealth. It's a leash. A leash they use to keep you obedient. At least they tighten while telling you to smile and be grateful for what you got. And you finally understand that the bills will never stop, because the bills are the point. The bills are the chain. So people stop. People are stopping. Quietly, but people are stopping. They stop paying rent to buy food instead. They let the car go. They let the credit card rot. People just stop answering the phone. And it's not because they don't care. It's just that they care more about being alive than paying these companies or these banks. They care more about feeding their kids instead. You know what I'm saying? They care more about not losing their minds under the weight of all this unrealistic pressure. Here's the secret that they don't want you to know. More people than you think have already made that choice. But this country, it only adds more chaos, more fuel to the fire. We got tariffs tossed around like dice. Trade wars shaking every price tag. We got groceries going up, clothes going up, medicine going up, appliances, utilities, everything you touch is going up in price. One man's ego turned into millions of people's pain. That's not leadership. That is dictatorship energy. Living here in America has become unpredictable. You don't know what tomorrow will cost. You don't know what new rule or what new tantrum is going to make surviving tomorrow even harder. Look around. The signs are everywhere. Empty storefronts. You got families crammed together, doubling up, tripling up sometimes, just so everybody can have a place to live. Workers are taking on 2 and 3 jobs, hustling every hour of the day just to fall deeper and deeper into debt. This is beyond struggle. This is erasure. Citizens aren't just broke. They are being erased. We are being priced out of existence intentionally. And here's the part you never hear on the news. The rebellion has already begun, and it doesn't look like protests. It doesn't look like riots. It looks like silence. It looks like people saying no in private. It looks like families feeding themselves instead of paying rent. It looks like envelopes just left unopened. It looks like millions of people withdrawing from a system that no longer has anything to offer them. And that is the rebellion that this empire fears the most. Not rage in the streets, not loud slogans, but the refusal to believe. Because once you see the dollar for what it is, once you see that that bill is just a piece of paper, then you can never unsee it. And once enough people stop believing, then this illusion collapses. The empire, America, will call it irresponsibility. But what's more irresponsible? A family choosing to survive over fueling a rigged system? Or a government that spends billions on wars, on bailouts for billionaires, on corporate greed, while its citizens are burned out, tired, and broken? So let's be clear. They told us if we worked hard, if we followed the rules, then we'd be safe. But the truth is undeniable now. American citizens have been priced out of existence, and more of us have already stopped paying than they will ever admit. That's not just a statistic, that's a quiet revolution. Every exhausted body that says no, every unpaid bill that refuses obedience, every family that chooses life over debt. These are not failures. These are votes of no confidence in this empire. Proof that the spell is breaking. So when they ask what happened to the American dream, tell them that the people woke up. Tell them that the people ran out of options. Tell them that the people stopped paying. And that is how empires fall. Not always with fire raining down from the sky, but with silence at the kitchen table. It's not always with noise, but with millions of voices whispering the same truth. And that truth is, we will not pay for our own erasure because we've already been priced out. We are tired. We are done. And we will no longer pretend otherwise.
When people stop paying their bills, whether it's credit cards, utilities, rent, or loans, it isn't just a personal crisis, it's a national one. The U.S. economy runs on consumer spending, and when families can no longer keep up, the dominoes fall quickly. We're already seeing it. Credit card delinquencies climbing, auto repossessions rising, and late payments on utilities hitting record highs. The rich will pretend this is just bad budgeting, but it's not. It's millions of people signaling that they've been stretched beyond breaking point. And when the working class stops paying, corporations don't get their money, banks don't collect their interest, landlords don't collect rent, and Wall Street's profits dry up. The irony? The very greed that created this crisis is now backfiring because you can't squeeze forever without the system collapsing under its own weight. Trust in America is at rock bottom globally. Investors are pulling back, foreign countries are shedding US dollars, and the dollar's dominance, the backbone of American power, is being chipped away. Nations are openly looking for alternatives to avoid relying on the US financial system, which weakens America's influence abroad. That's not just a hit to the rich, it's a hit to every single American who depends on a stable currency, a functioning job market, and affordable goods. The tragedy is that the people at the bottom, who already gave everything, are paying the steepest price, while the ones who caused this pretend nothing's wrong. The truth is simple. When the world no longer wants your money, and your own citizens can no longer pay their bills, the empire is cooked. The people know it, the world knows it. The only ones still in denial are the ones who broke it.
Have you ever seen this chart? Yeah. New York Times dropped this chart out, and it's showing that the US dollar haven't experienced a degradation at this magnitude since 1973. It hasn't been this weak since 1973. In fact, the last time it did have some type of action like this was when I was born, 1986. So y'all telling me that we're having some type of economic growth and the decisions that are being made are really crafting our nation, but our dollar is dying.